It's nice to be here today. It's a real honor to be in your presence today. Hard to follow some of the things you've already heard from Darla, and from Brian, and from Vincent, and you'll hear much more from the speakers that are still to follow today. But I want to bring a message to you today, a message of hope, a message of how big is your want to. Let's stand up, would we? Let's stand up. Let's stretch a little bit. Get those kinks out a little bit, right? Huh? I had to get up about 5:30 this morning to get here on time to meet with you folks and to see you. I'm glad I did. It's been a great opportunity already for me. You may be seated. Methamphetamine is a widespread epidemic, not just here in South Dakota, but across this nation of ours. It's an epidemic that is destroying lives, that is destroying families, destroying communities. And it is organizations and efforts like Mr. Steele and Mr. Horse have founded, those types of efforts from the grassroots that will make a difference in defeating this evil methamphetamine epidemic before it ever has a chance to defeat us. We will win in the end. There's no stopping people when they get together. When they have good ideas, when truth speaks to power, and truth never damages a just cause. But when we speak to power, that power must listen. The people in authority must listen. The people in our communities must listen. The people in our families must listen, because we're going to speak the truth to them. And the truth is, I'm good. I'm worthy. I can do it. I can win. I can beat this devil. I can be victorious. That's the truth, and we're going to speak it loud and clear as long as we have to gain the victory. Meth is ravishing so much of our population. I know when I first started practicing law, have somebody have a little marijuana on them. A little marijuana possession, underage consumption, all these things. You might have a cocaine case once in a while. In the last 5 years, my caseload in terms of defending meth cases has tripled. And I'm just one lawyer out there among many, but my caseload has tripled. There seldom goes by a week or 2 weeks that I don't get privately retained to represent somebody who has been charged with possession or ingestion of meth or court appointed on a case such as that. It's rampant, it's epidemic, and we must stand up to it. And I thank your organization for doing that, Mr. Steele and Mr. Horse and the others that are involved. 70%, they say, and this was a study back in 2006. They had a study that said 70% of the methamphetamine that comes in to this state comes from Mexican cartels. It's unbelievable. And it's undoubtedly getting worse. And we see that on our reservations too. And I want to emphasize something that Philip talked about. This organization is not a Native American organization. This is an organization for all people, Native and non-Native, black and white, rich and poor, wherever you are in life. This organization is an organization for all of us when we stand up and say that we want to help find solutions. That's what it's about. You have a problem, you need a solution. Methamphetamine in one reservation, with the labs where it can be cooked, the devastation was that 30% of the housing units on that reservation were uninhabitable because of people cooking meth. And we know, we see that. Your chairman, Mr. Steele, John Yellowbird Steele, I think in 2015 had to declare a state of emergency on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation because of what was happening. And he attributed it to the increase in drug usage, particularly methamphetamine. Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe is now disenrolling members. Good for them. Who manufacture or distribute methamphetamine. But it's a horrible situation, but let me say this. Methamphetamine is a symptom of underlying issues. It's a symptom of poverty, unemployment, social unrest, lack of opportunities. These are the power structures we must speak to address these underlying causes that allow people to be caught up in this type of activity. Poverty is the worst form of violence. And we must do all we can working with people in federal government, the state government, tribal governments, local governments, to address issues such as unemployment and poverty and lack of education and lack of training and lack of treatment. We can do that. But we must speak the truth. We must be warriors who are clean and sober, who understand where we've been and don't want others to go down that same pathway. So I'm honored to be here today to tell you that we, as an organization, you put me on the board of directors as legal advice. I'm supposed to have to give some free legal advice now? To help with that. But we know that 90% of the crime that occurs, whether it be on a reservation or off the reservation, occurs as a result of alcohol and drug abuse. We know that. So let's get busy at addressing these issues. But we must always remember that God writes straight with crooked lines. He writes straight with crooked lines. I'm a crooked line. Philip's a crooked line. You folks, you're crooked lines. We're all crooked lines. But with God's help, God can use us, even in the situation we're in, if we want to be used in a positive way and bring hope to others. And that's what I want to leave you with today, ladies and gentlemen, is there's hope out there. There's hope when we develop programs which I have talked about regarding statewide mentoring programs. I've started with the idea of mentoring programs on reservations. On all our reservations have mentoring programs. And there should be on all our reservations, and where necessary, the necessary halfway houses to help transition people from prison to freedom. And we need to have the proper job training programs for individuals. And we need to have the proper treatment for individuals. All these things we need to do, and we will do them if we're committed to doing them. We can do it. I just say to the leaders, how big is your want to? And how big is your want to today? To leave this place and never, never, never come back. How big is your want to? How big is your want to today that you're going to say no to drugs? You're going to say no to alcohol abuse. You're going to say no to those lifestyles that led you to this way. How big is your want to do that? And I just look at our situation, 23% of the male population in Sioux Falls is Native American. 35% of the Native American population here today is Native American. 29 or 30%, you could say, of the prison population in this state is Native American. 10% of the population, general population, is Native American. But where is state government? I invited the governor today, but got a message. He's at a roundup, and good, that's fine, that's wonderful. He started a drug force interdiction program, which is great, and he's working, and the state prison officials are working, and people in state government are working. But I say, where's Native American representation in state government? How many cabinet members in state government are Native American? How many Native Americans on the circuit court bench throughout the state of South Dakota? How many Native Americans on the South Dakota Supreme Court, or ever was a Native American on the South Dakota Supreme Court? When are we going to get representation in this government like we should have and like we need to have? I say to the power structures, listen to what's happening out there, and let's make state government and the judicial system more representative of the population as a whole. Can I have an amen? Amen. Thank you. And I'm going to just say this in closing. I've only got a few minutes. I got to get back here at 1 o'clock for a bond hearing. But I tell you, not my bond hearing. I'm free today. I see freedom in the air. It's floating right out there. But let me just say this as we close. How big is your want to? I was reading about this pilot, I think it was in Reader's Digest. And he was out having a picnic. And he was out eating his sandwich. And there's this bee. You know bees are a pest, especially when you're outside trying to enjoy your sandwich, having a picnic. And this bee is just flying around. And this bee is just causing all kinds of problems. And this pilot, he just bats that bee down. He just bats that bee down and says, there, I'll take care of you. Well, it wasn't too much longer. He heard this buzzing, and he looked over there. There's that bee. He's back up at it. He's bothering this guy, and he's flying around. He's getting awful annoyed. He grabs that bee. He just grabs that bee. He throws that bee, and he starts stomping on that bee. Gonna rub that bee in the sand. And he said, boy, that takes care of you. That's the end of you. So he goes on eating his sandwich, enjoying his sandwich, enjoying his picnic, and all of a sudden, he looks over there, and the sand's starting to move a little bit. Sand moving around just a little bit. He got so impressed, he got down on one knee. I'm 64 years old, I can't do it. But 10 years ago, I could. But he started looking at that bee. And that little bee, he got up out of that sand. And that little bee, yeah, he looked at him real close. He had a broken wing. He had an antenna that wasn't working just right. He had a leg that was kind of sore. And he looked at that little bee, and that little bee, he started straightening that wing. He started straightening that wing. He started working on that antenna. He started working on that leg. He started to smooth himself, check himself over. Little B, he got up and he went about 6 inches flying, and he hit a mound of dirt and fell down. But it didn't stop him. That little B, he says, well, I better check this thing over a little bit more. He soothed that wing a little bit more, worked on that leg a little bit more, worked on that antenna a little bit more, and pretty soon, that little bee, he got up and he just buzzed off. Why? He had a big 1-2. He had a big 1-2. Do you have a big 1-2 today? Do you think you've been stomped in that sand? Do you think somehow you got a bad break here and there? You made some bad decisions and you're down. You might be in that sand, but I want to tell you, if you have a big enough 1-2, you can be like that bee and you can fly out of here and never, never, never come back. Is that true? I gotta go. My 15 minutes was up 10 minutes ago. But I just want to tell you about a 1-2. I want to tell you one last 1-2. I want to tell you about this woman. This woman had to put up with this alcoholic husband, this drunk. Now, Darla, she developed a big 1-2. And she got out of that situation. She wasn't going to let that situation hold her back anymore, hold her 2 children back, hold her family back, hold her aspirations back. She got a big 1-2. Well, this lady's married to this drunk. And every night, her alcoholic drunk husband, he'd come home every night through the graveyard. He'd come home through the graveyard. Oh, I'm sleepy, and I want to go to bed. Show me the way to go home. Show me the way to go home. And every night he'd come through that graveyard on his way home after being at the bar. And his wife got the idea. She says, you know what? I'm going to get a grave digger. So she went and saw the grave digger. Got the grave digger and said, I want you in this path where my husband comes down every night drunk. I want you to dig a great big grave right in the middle of that path. A big one. Not just 6 feet. Make it 9 feet. A big, deep grave right there where he comes every day. And so, she had the grave digger dig this grave. But lo and behold, along comes a sober fella. Just a third-party interloper. He's coming along that same path. Kerplunk. Right in the grave he goes. Oh, doesn't know what to do. He's scrambling and jumping and trying to get out of that grave, doing everything he can to get out of that grave. Maybe you felt that way in your life. But he's just sitting down there. He's an innocent. But then pretty soon, along comes the drunk. The old drunk husband on his way home. Oh, I'm tired and it's late and I want to go home. Show me the way to go home. Boom! Right down to that grave he went. And he's thinking, boy, it's night, I'm in a grave. He's jumping, yelling, doing everything he can to get out of that grave. Every possible thing. He's frantic. Well, the sober man, he's just sitting over there in the corner. He's kind of enjoying this. And it's dark. And he decides, well, he thought he'd maybe break the silence. So he said in a real spooky voice, you can't get out of here. He got out of there because his 1-2 got big enough. And I know that your 1-2 is going to be big enough to want to get out of here and never, ever, ever come back. Thank you very much. I got to go.